try to put it into practical terms, and you work with organizations now, right, and help them with Integrity Works. And I know actually you have a survey, right?
Right. It's called the Integrity Check, and it's amazing. It's a great
tell us
survey.
about that.
Well, I love the idea of actually being able to measure integrity, taking it from being this kind of nebulous concept to being something that people can actually put forward in terms that are behaviorable and measurable. And so the Integrity Check survey is something that I use to help organizations be able to be self-reflective and be honest with themselves about really how much integrity is present and what's lacking. So the survey actually measures integrity in two ways. One is in terms of whether or not a company is actually living their values, walking the talk, as you said. And then there's a structural integrity component to it, which is how well different departments are actually supporting each other to achieve a common mission. And then there's an actual third part, which helps analyze and measure how well a specific team is working and functioning together.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Like, we've said a lot of stuff so far. I can't believe it, but, because we've talked about the values and mission, how integrity actually encompasses all of that, and, walking the talk. And then you've got this Integrity Check survey, which I love. By the way, I'm just a huge fan of everyone needs a starting point. And I always say to people, when you fill one of these things out, it's not really about, how perfect are you, or, you want to make sure you score really well. It's really about that. Everyone needs a benchmark so that they can start measuring a starting point, where they are, and then putting in a plan to be able to improve that, right, year after year. So it's a starting point. Can you give us a couple of examples maybe of what you would ask, because you're asking people, everyone in the organization to complete this, or just the leaders?
No, I'm asking everyone in the organization to complete it. And ideally what I like to do is have that happen on a department-by-department level so that we can sort of see where each different department is, because there can be wide variation in terms of their experience within one department versus another, which actually creates a real opportunity to then examine the different types of leadership that they're experiencing.
And now this is interesting. You've heard the expression, I'm sure of it, right, that people don't quit their organization, they quit their manager?
Yes. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, you sound intimately familiar with that. That's good.
Yes.
And what I'm wondering is if this survey, and I love that you said there's 3 categories, right, because there's the organizational level, the department level, the team level.
Yep.
And would we be able to also distinguish where there might be integrity within the organization overall, but perhaps within a team, or, something that's more, that's a smaller unit, more on a micro level, where integrity is lacking? Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's part of the beauty of the survey, is that it gives you an opportunity to actually see what's working really well and areas where you need to have some work done. So people can be very clear about the organization as a whole has these values, but this particular team, not so much, or vice versa. You know what? I love my team. Really think we're doing really well, but there's some real struggles here in terms of overall, in terms of whether or not this organization actually is living the values, or whether or not we feel supported, or whether or not we feel trusted in an organization, or whether we see leaders actually role modeling the values that we supposedly have agreed that the organization is supposed to be about. And it's a very pointed survey. I like to get to the point, so I actually ask people really direct questions, whether or not the organization has clear values, and whether or not they experience the organization is walking the talk, and whether leaders actually are role modeling, and whether there's trust. And, we measured about conflict resolution and performance appraisals and supports, and whether or not people talk behind each other's backs at the workplace. All these things that, there's 35 different questions based on 20 years of listening to people talk about their work experience on every level. So it's a really great tool. And then I give people an opportunity, because I'm really big on not just limiting people to the questions that I ask. So for every question that I ask, they have an opportunity to expand on it, to sort of free flow their observations or their thoughts or their examples of what's been going on. And then at the end, again, they can provide, there's a space for them to talk in general about their experience of working at a particular place and their ideas about what would make it better or not. So it's very much focused on getting as much information and giving as much of an analysis and some recommendations to organizations as I possibly can.